A racist CEO humiliated a black doctor on a flight, doubting his abilities and mocking him in front of everyone. What he did next left the entire plane speechless, delivering a powerful lesson on courage and dignity. Watch until the end to see how this incredible story unfolds. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share in the comments where you're watching from. Flights between New York and Chicago are always bustling, packed with hurried professionals, eager tourists, and executives on business trips. That morning, the executive cabin was nearly full, with passengers typing away on laptops or reviewing presentations. Among them was Dr. Andrew Carter, a 45-year-old black surgeon renowned for his groundbreaking work in pediatric heart transplants. Andrew was respected in his field, but his humble nature and unassuming appearance often led people to underestimate him at first glance. In the row beside him sat Diana Hale, a white woman in her early 50s who exuded authority as the CEO of a multinational pharmaceutical company. Diana was accustomed to being treated with deference wherever she went. That morning, for her, was just another business trip, or so she thought. Andrew boarded the plane carrying a well-worn leather backpack, a folded coat draped over his arm. As he reached his seat in the first-class cabin, Diana glanced at him with a subtle but unmistakable air of judgment. "Excuse me, are you sure you're in the right cabin?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. Andrew calmly checked his ticket and nodded. "Yes, this is my seat." Diana's expression remained skeptical, and she muttered, "Well, that's new." Before returning to typing on her laptop, Andrew noticed her dismissive tone, but chose to ignore it. The flight took off without incident, but an hour in, Diana seemed increasingly irritated by Andrew's presence. He was quietly reviewing surgical notes on his tablet, but she appeared visibly uncomfortable. "Excuse me," Diana said abruptly. "Could you stop looking over my shoulder?" Andrew looked up, startled. "Looking over your shoulder? I'm reviewing my own notes." "Well," she snapped, "it's distracting. Frankly, it's uncomfortable having you here." Taking a deep breath to maintain his composure, Andrew replied, "I paid for this seat just like everyone else. I'm not here to bother anyone." Diana scoffed, her voice tinged with disdain. "It's just curious how certain spaces seem more accessible to certain people these days." Nearby, Sarah Lopez, a flight attendant, overheard the exchange and approached with a professional but concerned expression. "Is everything all right here?" she asked. "Not exactly," Diana replied, crossing her arms. "This man is making me uncomfortable." Sarah turned to Andrew, who remained calm but visibly uneasy. "Is there something specific I can assist with?" she asked, keeping her tone neutral. "It's just an issue of compatibility," Diana said vaguely, her words heavy with implied prejudice. Sarah understood but remained diplomatic. "Dr. Carter, is there anything I can get you to make your flight more comfortable?" "Thank you, but I'm fine," Andrew replied, his voice steady. The turning point came just before the meal service. Diana, sipping a glass of white wine, made a loud comment that drew the attention of nearby passengers. "It's so rare to see someone like you up here. Usually, you all stay in coach, don't you?" Andrew paused, his hand hovering over his tablet. He looked directly at Diana. "Someone like me?" he asked, his voice calm but edged with controlled indignation. "Could you explain what you mean by that?" Realizing she'd gone too far, Diana attempted to backtrack. "I just mean, it's unusual. You know, the executive cabin is for those who truly belong here." The cabin fell silent, passengers exchanging uneasy glances. Andrew leaned slightly forward, his tone measured but firm. "For your information, I'm a pediatric heart transplant surgeon. I save lives every day, including, perhaps, someone you know. I think that qualifies me to sit wherever I choose." Diana's face flushed with embarrassment as murmurs of approval rippled through the cabin. Sarah returned, sensing the tension, and once again addressed Andrew. "Dr. Carter, is there anything I can do for you?" "No, thank you," Andrew replied, his composure unshaken. Sarah, feeling compelled to act, discreetly informed the pilot about the situation. Moments later, the intercom crackled to life. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for flying with us today. We'd like to extend our gratitude to Dr. Andrew Carter, a renowned surgeon traveling with us. His contributions to medicine are truly extraordinary. Passengers clapped, their applause echoing through the cabin. Diana sat frozen, her discomfort apparent. Near the end of the flight, Diana abruptly stood and marched toward the cockpit, demanding an explanation. "This is completely unnecessary," she fumed. "He's only being acknowledged to make me look bad." Sarah, who followed her, intervened. "With all due respect, Miss Hale, the only embarrassment here has been caused by your words and actions. They were entirely inappropriate." Diana tried to argue, but Andrew, who had approached the discussion, calmly interjected. "Your discomfort started the moment I sat down, Miss Hale, but let me assure you, this will be the last time you treat anyone the way you treated me." After disembarking in Chicago, Diana tried to maintain her composure, but her embarrassment was evident. She had no idea the day held another surprise. The next morning, at a high-profile medical conference her company was sponsoring, Diana was stunned to see Dr. Andrew Carter announced as the keynote speaker. Andrew walked onto the stage with quiet confidence as the audience of doctors, scientists, and industry leaders gave him a standing ovation. The introduction highlighted his pioneering work in pediatric heart transplants, leaving Diana to sit quietly, her earlier comments ringing in her ears. During his speech, Andrew shared moving stories of young patients whose lives he'd saved, showcasing his humanity in stark contrast to the prejudice he'd faced the day before. After the talk, Diana hesitantly approached him, her voice trembling. "Dr. Carter, I'd like to apologize for my behavior on the flight. I was out of line, and I hope you can forgive me." Andrew met her gaze, his expression steady. "Ms. Hale, your words revealed a lot about who you are. I don't hold grudges because that's not how I live my life. But next time you judge someone, remember this moment. Not everyone will show the patience I did." He walked away, leaving Diana to reflect on her actions. Later, conference attendees approached Andrew to express their admiration, some quietly remarking that Diana needed to reevaluate her behavior. Her reputation had been tarnished, not by Andrew, but by her own prejudice. Andrew, however, remained focused on his work and the people who mattered. For him, the incident wasn't about Diana. It was about maintaining dignity in the face of ignorance. He had turned an attempt to belittle him into a powerful public lesson without compromising his integrity. This story reminds us that prejudice has no place on a flight or in everyday life. What would you have done in Dr. Carter's position? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that challenge us to be better and strive for equality.